Kariuki, KTN News, at the Parliament Buildings, Nairobi.
Oh, so many questions to ask tonight, and we are asking them to my panel when we begin our discussion in about 15 minutes. But let's tell you what happened in the U.S. A federal grand jury in New York issued an arrest warrant against Indian billionaire Gautam Adani, along with 7 others, over allegations of a 34 billion shilling bribery and fraud scheme. Now, the charges revolve around solar energy contracts and accusations of concealing payments from the U.S. investors. Grace Nganga reports on the case that has put Adani's multinational, multi-billion empire under intense scrutiny across the globe.
Despite the government's confidence in India's Adani Group to spearhead key infrastructure projects in energy and transport sectors, its chairperson Gautam Adani, along with his nephew Sagar Adani, now face up to 70 years in prison if convicted of multiple charges in New York. Adani, referred to as numero uno or the big man by alleged conspirators, and his nephew are charged with securities fraud, which is carrying a potential 5-year sentence. Securities fraud conspiracy, which is punishable by up to 20 years, while fraud conspiracy, which will lead to another 20 years in prison. They are also named in a U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission civil case, which could result in an additional 25 years behind bars if found guilty. The billionaire and his associates are accused of orchestrating a multi-billion-dollar bribery scheme, allegedly paying $265 million to Indian government officials to secure contracts expected to yield $2 billion in profits over 2 decades. These contracts include developing India's largest solar power plant project. Prosecutors allege Adani and his co-defendants misrepresented the company's anti-bribery policies and concealed illicit payments from investors. Additionally, they are accused of raising over $3 billion in loans and bonds while hiding their corrupt activities from lenders and stakeholders. In response, the Adani Group issued a statement dismissing the charges as baseless, with the company's spokesperson insisting that the organization has always maintained transparency and complied with legal requirements. This, however, is not the first time Adani Group has faced allegations of fraud. In 2023, a high-profile investigation accused the company of financial malpractice, and 39 billion shillings of its assets were frozen in Switzerland over money laundering claims. The ongoing case cast a shadow of Adani's business dealings in the country, where his companies are involved in several high-profile projects, including the proposed upgrade of Jomo Kenyatta International Airport and a partnership with Kenya Electricity Transmission Company, KETRACO, to build transmission lines and substations. These deals have sparked public backlash, with critics questioning the government's close ties with the embattled businessman. Grace Nganga, KTN News, Nairobi.